Good day, good friends. Bobo C-Type Beers here, wrapping up a set of leagues with black-white Martyr Proc. This feels a lot better than mono-white right now. We didn't fare as well as I would like. I think the final call 15 games and we won 6, so we lost 9, 7 and 8, 5 and something. I don't know, but a lot of that was due to misplays, so I'm looking less at the overall record and more about how the deck played, and it felt rare that it wasn't competitive. Like, it always felt like I was in every game, every round, and that is something that the deck can't always be said of the deck. The fact that in my non-recorded testing and in my recorded testing, I've pulled wins against Tron, pulled wins against Amulet Titan, pulled wins against decks that, those hard combo decks that the deck doesn't have a lot of right to pull off upsets against. The extra removal combined with just the access to different things has been very, very, very helpful. I'm going to break down kind of each deck building decision a little bit and whether or not I would make it again. So the Cavern Wayfarer nonsense, I feel like it's still relevant. It's still helpful. It's still good. It definitely was impactful in at least one game per league, and that's worth it. That justifies the slot. Stealing games from Tron, stealing games from Blue-White, stealing games where we just go get that cavern. There were also some situations in testing where, in reflection, and I don't know if these made it to the recordings or not, but had I gone for Weathered Wayfarer into Cavern earlier, I get through. There was one game against Eldrazi Tron that I know I didn't record, but they had a Chalice Lock, and I had a Weathered Wayfarer, and I just didn't bother to get Cavern, which was a pretty sincere misplay because I had hands of Martyr and Ranger and Serra. So, the amount of things Cavern protects us from is so relevant to me. And I do think the Weathered Wayfarer acting as that extra cavern comes in handy. I don't think I would move those to the sideboard. I don't think I would. I think I like them in the main. As far as the other numbers of lands, the 6 land destruction spells felt great. Not too many, not too few. I do wonder if I only need 1 Mistveil Plains. I like having it for, mill decks and just, as a way to buy back one-ofs, as a way to buy back Walking Ballista, and such. So, but 2 seemed a little unnecessary. And it was rare that I was able to activate 2, so they weren't paying that off. And at the end of the day, if a mill deck, the reason I put 2 in is because in my testing, a mill deck blew up my Mistveil Plains, and then I was kind of SOL. So I don't think that 1% scenario is worth running 2, and I do like having access to another basic. I think 4 basics is not enough. I think 5 is way more relevant. There's a part of me that wants to go to 2 Godless Shrines and then 2 more basics, but I don't think that's really necessary, and I like having more access to the black-white. There were even though the deck is so light on black-white, I think it's still relevant. Other than that, that's kind of it for the lands. Let's move on over to the 1-drops. I think we should cut all 4 Martyrs and just get those. No, I'm kidding. Everything in the 1-drop slot I liked a lot except for Kami. I brought the card in. There were some situations where I couldn't Martyr and save myself, but I could have Kami'd in my early testing, and that's why it made it in there. And that wasn't relevant in 15 rounds. So if it's not relevant in 15 rounds, maybe that's just a one-off I don't need to be prepared for. I don't know. Let me know what you think. It did pull its weight. I don't know if this was in the recording, but there was a game in Infect where I was able to just keep Sorining back Kami of False Hope against a deck that didn't have removal and just get over. So that was really relevant. But I don't know. One Winds of Abandon seems good. I did bring in the second Winds of Abandon more than I expected to. So there's something to be said of that. The deck is really tight right now. I could cut the Cleansing Nova for the extra Winds of Abandon. I don't know if the Cleansing Nova did what it was supposed to do, but we also didn't play Urza. We didn't play a lot of the decks where it would have been relevant, and I'm starting to think maybe it's not so relevant, but so yeah, maybe Winds of Abandon does come in to open up the sideboard a little bit. For Orzhov Charm, still a great card. I was probably a little aggressive in siding them out when I sided in Rest in Peace and other graveyard based removal. So, I'm still not great at playing with the card. Crucible is still, I love that card as the 25th land still. Wrath is fine. 4 Rangers are fine. I like Sorin a lot. I think Sorin's ability to be, it got sided out more than I would have liked it to. And there are some matchups, like, it's really bad against Lightning Bolt, Lightning Bolt is coming back to the format in profound ways. But other than that, it feels really strong. And having Kami in really gives it some mileage I didn't expect. So the more I think about it, the more the Sorin Kami nonsense feels right. So I'm really happy with the Sorin. There's an argument to bring it down to two Sorin, but I think 3 it feels a little more comfortable. There were times where I drew it where I wasn't super happy to have it, but it frees up the sideboarding a lot better to have it. So that's that. And then, so we talked about Cleansing Nova. I'm still a big fan of the Heliod combo. I'm especially a big fan of Heliod with Kambal. And let me just say, I really think Kambal is the MVP of the sideboard here. It's like borderline main deckable. It's so good. It just can come in most matchups and be relevant. And then there are some matchups where it completely houses our opponent. Like, due to the limited life gain here, we can just kind of drop games to prowess and burn that we shouldn't. We saw that in this recording, and Campbell's like, yeah, we're not going to do that. But it's a house of a card. It's fragile. It's super fragile, but it is a house of a card. And the synergy with Heliod to make it bigger, make it bolt proof. They can't bolt it with Heliod on the battlefield because then I just protect it. Is such an impactful card. I'm a big fan, considering a third one. Really good. I think Disenchant and Stony Silence is a little bit of overkill. Part of me thinks cutting down maybe to 1 Stony Silence and 2 Disenchant, or 1 Disenchant, 2 Stony Silence. I'm not sure. Let me know what you think of that. It seems a little overkill, but maybe that will feel less so when I take out the Cleansing Nova. Celestial Purge is still rock solid. I was expecting to get less mileage out of it, with Lurrus kind of being rendered less powerful, but Lurrus is still out there. Lily decks are still out there. Prowess decks it comes into. Even weird matchups like Panza, where they have an unkillable god, it comes into play really handily. So I think it's a great removal spell in a lot of ways. I really do. And when we bring it in with, it can swap out for some Orzhov Charms when we bring in Rest in Peace as well. Rest in Peace still relevant. I'm a little bummed that Surgical Extraction is so expensive online. I do have them in paper, and I would run them in paper. I would run them if I had them. But I would keep 2 Rest in Peace and then 1 Surgical. Just for Tron, and in addition to being really good graveyard hate, it is just really good Tron hate. If we're able to kill a Titan, it would be really good at hating out the amulet decks, which can be a real pain in the butt. And then Damping Sphere is still Damping Sphere. It needs its slots. Sorcerous Spyglass I wasn't huge on. Hex Parasite I wasn't huge on. Those I'm starting to consider whether or not they should be something else. So that's it. Black White Martyr Proc. I do think this is the flavor of Martyr Proc I would run if I was sleeving up a 75 for a tournament. I have been seeing in the Martyr Proc discords and different kind of conversations some blue-white shenanigans I'm excited to explore, but I think I'm going to take a break from Martyr Proc for a bit. I think my next videos are going to be taxes because the containment pre-spoiler has me hyped. I've been waiting for that card to come to Modern, and I'm really, really, really excited about it. I think it bears mentioning whether or not it should come in this deck. There's definitely some debate, so I'd love to hear in the comments. Let me know what you think of this list in the comments. Feel free to roast my plays. Feel free to roast my decisions. Feel free to roast the one-off art ranger. Roast away. We're here to learn. We're here to get better, and that comes from feedback and, you know, having a thick skin about that feedback. So very, very excited to be playing some Black White Martyr Proc, and I will see you in the next one.